Close your eyes. Let the outer world dissolve. Let the facts, the noise, the waiting, all fade away. What remains is you and your imagination. And here's the secret. If you can feel it as done, then it is. You don't manifest with effort, you manifest with being. What you assume yourself to be inwardly, you express outwardly. This is not philosophy, it is law. The law of consciousness, unbreakable and exact. So ask yourself now, can you feel the end? Not wish for it, not long for it, but truly feel it as if it has already happened. The desire fulfilled, the prayer answered, the dream realized. There is no power outside you giving or withholding anything. Your inner world is the only cause. All things obey the feeling that dominates your inner space. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. You are not asking the world to change, you are assuming it already has. And that assumption, when felt deeply and lived sincerely, compels the outer to mirror it. You are not hoping, you are not pleading, you are knowing. And knowing is the creative act. Begin now to live from the end, not toward it, not waiting for it, from it. You want love? Be the one who is already cherished. You want wealth? Walk as one who already has more than enough. You want healing? Move as one already whole. This feeling is the seed, and your world is the fertile soil. But it will not grow while you keep digging it up with doubt or water it with desperation. It grows when you rest, when you trust. And above all, when you stop trying to make it happen and instead you dwell in the state where it has already happened. That is the manifestation key. Feel it done and you shall see it done. Not by might, not by effort, but by the silent power of assumption. The world bends to the inner man who dares to say, it is already so. And when that man walks the earth as though it were already true, the world has no choice but to follow. Be still now and feel it. It is done. Every desire you've ever had was not a call to action, but a call to assume. The world in all its shapes and changes does not respond to pleading or longing. It does not yield to effort alone. It bends to assumption, the quiet inner knowing that what you seek is already yours. There is a secret embedded in the fabric of reality. You are always assuming something, whether consciously or unconsciously, and these assumptions are not passive thoughts. They are living beliefs clothed in feeling. When you say, this is who I am, and you feel it to be so, you move mountains unseen. Life, then, doesn't give you what you ask for with your lips. It gives you what you claim with your inner certainty. To assume something is not to daydream about it or to wish for it. It is to inhabit it as though it were real. It is to close your eyes and feel the chair beneath you, though the chair has not yet appeared. It is to walk through the world not with empty hands, but with the full heart of someone who already possesses their desire. When a man assumes he is healthy despite appearances of illness, and he remains loyal to that assumption, not just once but persistently, something changes. His body, his cells, his chemistry begin to shift in harmony with that inner belief. And when a woman assumes she is deeply loved, though the outer world may not show it, her experience begins to mirror that state in ways that defy logic. Why? Because the outer world is nothing more than a mirror held up to your inner state. People often say, I'll believe it when I see it, but this is the very reversal of the truth. In this realm of consciousness, you see it because you believe it. The assumption comes first, the evidence follows. To assume is to plant the seed. The manifestation is merely the unfolding of that seed in the garden of life. But many do not know they are assuming. They think they are reacting to life. They do not see that life is reacting to them. A man who assumes he is always unlucky will find misfortune on every corner, not because life is cruel, but because life is obedient. It takes the mold of your assumption and pours itself into it. If your mold is brokenness, life will show you pieces. If your mold is wholeness, life will show you completion. Assumption works in silence. It does not shout, it does not fight, it simply is. It carries the power of creation without lifting a single finger. The one who truly assumes does not chase, he does not beg, he does not force. He enters the state of the wish fulfilled and dwells there, confidently and quietly, as though the promise has already been kept. You must ask yourself not what do I want, but what am I assuming right now? Are you assuming that you'll always struggle, that you're not good enough, that things never work out for you? If so, the world must echo that belief. But if you dare to assume that everything is working in your favor, even when your senses scream otherwise, something remarkable happens. The world begins to reflect that faith. This is the mystery. To assume is to create. You have no need to convince anyone, to manipulate, to push the pieces into place. All you must do is choose the state you wish to live in, assume it fully, feel it deeply, and let life catch up. You are the operant power, and your assumption is the key. When you assume the best and live from that end, the best must appear, not by chance, but by law. There is an invisible bridge between the world you imagine and the world you experience, and that bridge is feeling. Thought alone is not enough. Words, no matter how poetic or powerful, do not create unless they are charged with emotion. It is what you feel deeply that shapes the fabric of your reality. Feeling is the alchemy that transforms the unseen. Every creation begins in the invisible. A desire stirs in the quiet depths of your mind, but that desire cannot manifest unless it is felt into being. Emotion gives it life. It is the spiritual substance that clothes the formless with form. Without feeling, desire remains a shadow, an idea, not a reality. The world is not moved by logic, it is moved by energy, and emotion is concentrated energy. When you feel something strongly, whether joy, fear, gratitude, or sorrow, you are broadcasting that frequency into the field of life. And this field is not indifferent. It responds to the vibration of your inner state. What you feel, you attract. What you sustain emotionally, you embody. And what you embody, you experience. You may say, I want success. But if you feel doubt or anxiety or unworthiness, then it is not success you are calling in. It is resistance. You are crossing the bridge of feeling in the wrong direction. The outer world cannot help but reflect the truth of your inner emotional atmosphere. So the key is not to simply think positively or repeat affirmations like a machine. The key is to enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagine what it would be like if your desire were already yours, and then dare to feel that now. The joy, the relief, the peace, the gratitude. That feeling is the doorway. That feeling is the bridge. It carries you from longing to fulfillment, not someday, but now. This is why children often manifest so easily. They imagine vividly and feel without resistance. They do not question whether what they feel is possible. They simply step into the scene in their mind and feel it as real. And life responds accordingly. The adult, on the other hand, hesitates, doubts, rationalizes. But the law remains the same. What you feel deeply, you make real. Every outcome you have experienced, good or bad, has been traced back to a feeling. The feeling of being unwanted becomes the experience of rejection. The feeling of being supported becomes the experience of abundance. It does not matter what appears to be happening outside of you. What matters is the emotional blueprint you hold within. When you deliberately choose to feel the end result, even when the senses show otherwise, you are shifting timelines. You are moving from the known to the unknown, from possibility to certainty. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. And that knowing, felt in the heart, becomes the cause of all future events. Do not wait for the world to give you something to feel good about. That is not how this works. You must feel it first. And in feeling it, you set the wheels of reality in motion. Life will always meet you at the level of your emotion, not your intention. So ask yourself often, what am I feeling right now? Because that feeling is sending instructions to your world. If you want love, feel loved. If you want freedom, feel free. If you want success, feel successful. Not later, not after, but now. This is not pretending, this is creating. It is not about faking a mood. It is about aligning with the state where your desire already lives. Walk across the bridge. Don't just think it. Feel it. Because feeling is the bridge, and the only way to make the unseen become seen. You are not waiting to create. You are not creating only when you sit in meditation or speak words of affirmation. You are always creating. Every moment, every thought, every feeling is a brushstroke painting the canvas of your life. Whether you are conscious of it or not, your inner state is shaping your outer world. There is no pause. There is no off switch. The creative power within you is constant, and it responds faithfully to the energy you radiate. Your thoughts, when infused with feeling, are prayers, unspoken requests sent into the field of infinite possibility. But they are not just requests, they are commands, directives, seeds. Each thought, clothed in emotion, plants itself in the soil of consciousness. And what is planted must grow. What is felt must find form. The world around you is not happening to you, it is growing from you. This is why it is not enough to wish. A wish is often fleeting, half-hearted, filled with doubt. But a belief, a feeling, a deep inner conviction, that is power, that is the force that moves mountains. You may not even speak your desires aloud, yet if your heart is full of certainty, the outer world bends to it. And likewise, even if your mouth utters affirmations of abundance, but your soul is anxious or afraid, the world will reflect the fear, not the... Creation is not an event. It is a condition, a state of being. You are like a radio tower, constantly transmitting a signal. And that signal, formed by your dominant thoughts and feelings, determines what you attract and what you repel. It is not what you do in rare moments of concentration that shapes your life. It is who you are being in every ordinary moment. You cannot fool this process. You cannot fake this signal. Life responds to your real vibration, not the mask you wear or the words you rehearse. If you walk through the world with an inner posture of lack, the world echoes it back with absence. If you live with the quiet confidence that you are supported, chosen, and blessed, you'll begin to see signs of that truth manifesting everywhere. It is humbling to realize how much of our life is not chance, not fate, but the outpicturing of inner patterns. And it is empowering to know that at any moment you can shift your state and begin sowing new seeds. The question is not whether you are manifesting, the question is what you are manifesting. By what you continually dwell on, fear, imagine, and feel. A man who lives in constant worry is not only suffering emotionally, he is also cultivating a future shaped by that worry. A woman who silently carries the assumption that she is never chosen, never seen, is unknowingly authoring a reality where that remains true. These inner stories, repeated often and charged with emotion, become scripts for the world to act out. But when you awaken to this truth, you begin to choose differently. You begin to guard your inner state, not out of fear, but with reverence. You recognize that your imagination is sacred ground, and what you allow to take root there will soon show itself in your life. There is no neutral moment. Every second you are emitting, shaping, sculpting. You are always creating. So become deliberate. Begin to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I assuming right now? And if the answer does not serve the life you desire, change it, shift it, replace it with a better seed. The world is a garden and your mind is the planter. Sow wisely, feel richly, imagine fully, and know that the harvest is not in someone else's hands. It is growing beneath your very feet, springing from the prayers you didn't even know you were praying. To live from the end is to become the embodiment of your desire fulfilled. It is not hoping, wishing, or waiting. It is being. It is the sacred shift from seeing your desire as something outside of you to knowing it as something already accomplished within you. You are no longer chasing after your dream. You are living as if it were already your truth. The common mistake many make is to dwell on their desires. They think of them often, speak about them, even daydream about them, but always from a place of distance. The desire remains something over there, separate and unreachable like a star in the sky. But to live from the end is to bring that star down and place it in your heart. It is to walk, speak, feel, and move as if that desire is already your present reality. When you live from the end, you do not ask, when will it come? That question vanishes because you are already in the state of possession. Time dissolves, lack disappears. What remains is the peace, the satisfaction, the certainty of fulfillment. You become one with the result, and when that union happens within, it must reveal itself without. This way of being is not about pretending. It's not about tricking the mind or acting for show. It is a deep inner conviction, a shift in consciousness. You are not hoping to be wealthy. You are wealth in form. You are not seeking love. You are love fulfilled. This inner identification is what magnetizes the outer experience to you. The world, in its obedient nature, rushes to mirror the truth you hold inside. Think of a person who has already received their heart's desire. How do they walk? How do they breathe? How do they carry themselves in the world? There is no strain, no grasping. There is grace. There is knowing. When you live from the end, you assume that identity, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You no longer need proof because you have become the proof. This is the great paradox. When you stop looking for it and start living from it, it finds you. The person who feels unworthy will continue to experience rejection. The person who feels chosen will naturally be chosen. Why? Because the outer world simply reflects the inner world. It cannot help it. It does not argue, it echoes. So the question is not how do I make it happen? The true question is, can I inhabit the version of me where it's already happened? That version of you already exists in consciousness. You do not create it, you step into it. You occupy that mental home and claim it as yours. When doubt arises, when circumstances seem unchanged, return to the state. Re-enter the scene of the wish fulfilled. Feel it again, touch it again in imagination. Not as a dream, but as a memory. The mind does not know the difference between real and imagined, only what is felt. And what is consistently felt becomes fact. The greatest secret of creation is this: the end contains the path. When you assume the end as already done, life rearranges itself to bring it forth. You do not need to know the how or the when. You only need to know the what and feel that it is already so. Living from the end is not about doing more. It is about being more. Being the one who already is, already has, already knows. It is from that sacred state that miracles unfold, not because you force them, but because you align with them. Enter the end and remain there, and what you assumed will not delay. It must come because it is already yours. Detachment is not about giving up. It is not about becoming indifferent or careless. True detachment is trust, the kind of trust that allows you to step back, breathe deeply, and surrender the details to a higher intelligence. It is the sacred understanding that your job is not to construct the path brick by brick, but simply to feel the end result as real and let life orchestrate the unfolding. Most people block their manifestations not because they don't desire strongly enough, but because they grip too tightly. They obsess over the how, trying to figure out every step, worrying if they're doing it right. They fixate on the when, growing restless and anxious if it doesn't arrive on their schedule. But both of these mental habits arise from the same root, a lack of faith, a belief that it won't happen unless they push it into being. But that's not how creation works. Your mind is a powerful tool, but it was never meant to carry the weight of the entire process. Your true power lies in imagining the end and feeling it as already done. That is your work. That is the cause, the effect, the means, the method, the timing, belongs to something far beyond your conscious control. It belongs to the unseen laws that govern all of life. When you try to force the how, you step out of your creative role and into a reactive one. You begin adjusting your vibration to match doubt instead of fulfillment. When you chase, you affirm that you don't yet have it. When you grow impatient, you declare that it's still missing. These inner declarations cancel the very thing you're trying to call in. Detachment then is not passivity. It's alignment. It is the quiet, confident stance of one who knows that what is imagined with feeling and consistency must become fact. Just as a seed planted in fertile soil will grow when left undisturbed, so too will your desire come to life when you allow it the space to unfold. The moment you have felt the end is real, the moment you have touched the state of the wish fulfilled, creation is complete. You don't need to repeat it 1,000 times or beg the universe to respond. You only need to remain faithful to that inner knowing and refuse to dig up the seed with doubt. Let the path reveal itself. Let life surprise you. Often the route your desire takes will look nothing like what your mind expected. It may come through people you've never met, opportunities you didn't anticipate, or events that seem unrelated. But if you insist on managing every detail, you may block the very blessings trying to reach you in unexpected ways. You are not here to figure it all out. You are here to feel it all real. You are here to dwell in the state of completion, and in that state, your world will reorganize itself. Detach from how, detach from when. Release the timeline. Let go of the urge to monitor progress, check the signs, or compare your journey to others. All of these things stem from fear, and fear creates resistance. Return daily to the feeling of the end. Bask in it, breathe it, own it, and then live your life with joy and openness, knowing that the wheels have already turned in your favor. When you truly let go, not with resignation, but with assurance, you make space for the unseen to work wonders, and in that space, creation becomes effortless, because you are no longer interfering. It is done. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to know that it is happening, even now, and to trust enough to let go. The world you see, touch, and move through each day is not random. It is a mirror, exact, responsive, and deeply personal. It reflects not your wishes, not your words alone, but the certainty you carry within. Before anything changes in the outer world, it must first shift in the inner realm of belief. That is where all true creation begins, with a quiet, unshakable knowing. Inner certainty is not loud. It does not demand proof or chase evidence. It is calm, settled, and still. It is the subtle yet powerful awareness that what you have imagined is already yours. Even when the senses scream otherwise, even when circumstances contradict it, inner certainty remains unmoved. And that state of unwavering knowing is the cause of all outer change. So many people go through life trying to change the world while remaining unchanged within. They fight against conditions, plead for transformation, or wait for a sign before they believe. But it does not work that way. The mirror cannot show you a smiling reflection if you wear a frown. It cannot show you success if inwardly you feel unworthy. The reflection is faithful. It only reflects what stands before it. But this is why inner certainty is everything. It is the signal to the universe that you are ready, aligned, and already living in the state of your desire fulfilled. When you no longer ask, "Is it coming?" and instead say, "It is already done," you send out a vibration that life cannot ignore. But how do you reach this certainty? You must cultivate it through imagination, repetition, and feeling. You must turn inward and build a relationship with your desired state until it becomes more familiar to you than your doubts. You revisit it each day, not because you are trying to force it to appear, but because you are choosing to live from it now. This is not about blind faith or pretending. It's about stepping into the role of the creator and assuming responsibility for your vibration. You recognize that every outer result you experience is the echo of a former inner state, and that to create something new, you must become someone new within. When doubt arises, you do not panic. You do not chase for reassurance. You simply return to the truth. I have imagined it. I have felt it. It is done. You become still in that knowing. And that stillness is not passive. It is power. In stillness, you align with the deeper rhythm of life that moves all things into place. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are commanding it through your inner state. Certainty does not require control. In fact, it releases control. When you are certain, you don't micromanage. You don't need to see daily signs to stay encouraged. You simply walk in faith, not as someone waiting, but as someone who already knows. You show up differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself with the quiet strength of someone who is already whole. This inner conviction bends reality. It draws in people, events, and opportunities that align with your belief. The world organizes itself around the truth you hold inside, and the stronger that truth becomes, the more naturally and effortlessly it begins to manifest around you. So if you want to change your world, begin by changing the way you feel within. Shift your assumptions. Hold the vision. Cultivate the feeling. And above all, remain still in your knowing. Do not be swayed by appearances or delayed by doubt. Be still, know it is done, and the world will have no choice but to catch up with the certainty that already lives inside you. Everything you've ever desired is already alive in the unseen, waiting for you to claim it. Not with effort, not with struggle, but with feeling. When you assume it's done, when you live from the end, when you no longer beg but rest in certainty, creation becomes effortless. The world bends to your inner state because you are always creating it. Stop asking how and when. Instead, dwell in the feeling that it is already so. Let that feeling become your home. Let that knowing become your reality. Feel it deeply, feel it often, feel it as done, and it must become flesh. Creation begins and ends within. The bridge is feeling. The key is assumption. The power is you. Thank you for listening. If this message stirred something within you, hold it close and return to it whenever doubt tries to speak louder than your faith. Until next time, stay grounded, stay certain, and remember, it is already done.